the Venus books themselves that I write are based on the principles of theosophy. And one of the objects of the Theosophical Society is that we develop the powers that are latent within us. And that is also the mission of the Venusians here on Earth, to help us to develop those powers that are latent within us, that we have a spark of divinity, but we just don't realize it, and therefore we don't utilize it. And so that was the purpose of the Venus books, is that I'm introducing the Venusians to the people of Earth, but also opening the door for them to exercise the same kind of powers that the Venusians have, that are dormant within inside of themselves.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm kind of in the role of the wizard who was from the Midwest in the United States and found himself one day caught up in a storm and dropped off into this alien world where he encountered the inhabitants of Oz and learned many things, and having returned to Earth, he shares this knowledge with people on Earth. And whether they listen to him or not wasn't so important, as much as even a few did. And they realized their full potential, self-realization took place. And so that was the point of including that in the book.
All right. Yes, exactly. And in the end, when it was the little dog that was hopping out of this basket again, and then Dorothy could not go with the balloon with the wizard. You remember? She had to get out again, and he was flying away on his own. So then this is when symbolically you were returned, or you returned to the earth.
I returned to the earth, and then also in the L. Frank Baum's classic book, The Wizard of Oz, he introduces us to Dorothy, who gained a lot of knowledge and wisdom herself, and was able to come back through her own power. And she comes back and tells her story. And so in the Venus books, we have Dolores Barrios, we have Annalise Guerin, we have Matsu, and many of the personalities that have gone to Venus and come back with their own story. And hopefully that the readers of these books will take these accounts to heart and learn something to develop themselves. In my own religious background, I grew up with the understanding, of course, that the celestial beings that inhabit the pleroma, or the heavenly realms, that they themselves were once as we are now, and we can become as they are. But without knowledge, the people perish. So these Venus books will provide an understanding of just what qualities and characteristics were in these translated beings, these individuals who ascended up to Venus and returned to Earth with an important message for our own spiritual growth and development.
Exactly. And additionally, we also have these other Venusian connections and beings in the book, right? We have Omnek Onek, who is a Venusian who was brought to Earth. We have by Venus, who is considered a walk-in. We have Lobsang Rampa, who is considered a walk-in, and Howard Menger, George Adamski, who had physical contacts and who was taken and transported through the universe and including Venus. So just the first Venus Rising books is like presenting and showing us in detail examples from Venusian contacts, including these spiritual phenomena like translated beings and all kinds of connections and contacts, right? So this is really a huge information. And I can only say thank you again, for this revelation and for this enlightening book. I don't know all the other books in detail yet, but I have the rest of my life to study them and hopefully to translate them.
Yeah. Oh yes. And it's all based on the principle of kindness, being kind to one another. It's like Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2 that said we should always be kind to one another, for know ye not that ye entertain angels unawares. And Psalm 91 that said that the Lord God hath appointed angels to take charge over us, to guide and protect us. And so these things are very real, but they're not as complicated as the religions of the world want to make them, the organized religions. Sometimes we redeem ourselves just through a simple act of kindness to one another. And we see case after case of that in these Venus books. In Rockets to Venus, book number 2, there are many cases from Russia. There's one where an angel appears and cures a woman of cancer, and all kinds of encounters throughout Russia during the time of the Soviet Union and even before and after. So this is a worldwide phenomena, and I'm so glad that I was able to gather this information and to provide it to the readers out there that need to know it. They're really truly blessed, and we have nothing to fear. I mean, we live in these times, and we see the headlines, but all these things were predicted long ago, and but we are in the protection of angels that are assigned to us, and we're going to come out of it okay. And people don't need to worry and fret about these things. As it says in the book of Matthew, that seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. So we're blessed and we're protected. And that's the message of Venus Rising. There are safe houses all around the world where Venusians are living, working among us, that definitely have our best interest at heart.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Why don't we just talk for a moment about your plans to come to Germany? Actually, it was even your idea, right? Last year, when we were first in the beginning, when we met, I mean, per Zoom, of course, it was like you said, oh, I would love to come to Germany again, or it is a long time ago that you have been here, right, in Göppingen.
Yes, yes.
And now we are really working here on the publication of your book in German and on preparing your tour here in Germany. I mean, a tour it's a big word, but we have the plan of 4 appearances, as I already shared with you, right? We want
Yes.
to go to 4 places. I mean, with the help of the angels and God's help and everything, and people's help, we are planning on that. And yeah, we want
So
to present you your books, you share your information. So, right?
yes, yes, Anya, that's right. Well, I would go there regardless of anything, because I felt the urge. I felt impelled to go and do it, just to meet you, if nothing if nothing else. You have such a kind heart and a sweet spirit, and I want to go there and see you. And I know that marvelous things will happen. Uh, Once upon a time, I learned a great principle, and that was that if I envision something and I ask myself every day, what have I done to make it possible? The universe will accelerate that process. I had friends from Ghana in California when I lived in California, in outside of Modesto in Ceres, California, and they said that they have relatives in Ghana, and if I would like to go, they would put me up. So I thought, I've always wanted to go to Africa, and I should go there. So that I started reading every book I could about Africa. I kept a journal, and I had like 200 books read from cover to cover. And then suddenly I had an epiphany, just like a light bulb went off in my head. And I suddenly, understood the little bit of the Akan language and the culture and everything started falling into place. I went to a travel agent and arranged to get the proper visas and everything, and I was just delivering pizzas, and all of a sudden I was getting really big tips and everything from the deliveries, and I just put them in the bank, and I had enough to pay for my ticket and still have enough left over. So I went there. I went to Ghana, and then I every day, I'd ask myself, what have I done to get there? And I posted a picture of this dam in the Volta region of Ghana. I posted this picture up on my bedroom wall, and when I got to Ghana, I met the family, and I had a job there as they gave me a job there as working in an elementary school that they ran out of their house. And then with their oldest son, Kweku, he drove me all around Ghana. And the first place that we drove up to was in the Volta region where they had that dam. And then I was standing on top of it, and I realized that, this went from just a vision and an idea into a reality in such a short time. And that I realized that there's nothing that's impossible, that we have the capacity to do anything if we just envision it, and we take a few steps, and every day follow through on something, even if it's just some little thing, that it'll manifest itself. The universe will make a way for it to happen. And then when I got back to to the United States and everything, I got my degree at West Virginia University, and after having come back from Venezuela. And so I got my degree, master's degree in Spanish literature with emphasis on magical realism. And I wanted to get a doctoral degree in literature as well. But West Virginia University didn't have a program in the literature department or foreign languages for the doctoral degree. So I just had a hunch that if I walked across the quad and went over to the Department of History, that they'd give me everything that I wanted. So I walked in there and just talked to the department chair. And he said, well, we don't have anything right now except we need somebody to teach Africana studies. And I said, well, you know, I happen to live in Ghana for 2 years. So they gave it to me. And then when I got in there, I decided to write my dissertation on Afro-Zulians in the transatlantic world, the African diaspora in Venezuela. So I combined two things into one and got that done very, very, very quickly. All the term papers that I wrote, I saved them. I just put them together chronologically, kept it to the same theme, and then I had my my dissertation and my doctoral degree. Now, if you want to get that book, which is all about not only the Imbangala people from Central Africa, but the Basque sea captain, Capitan Juan de Churio from the Basque country, bringing a contingent of the Imbangala over to the Sur del Lago of Venezuela, where Maracaibo is. It costs $448 just to get a used copy on Amazon, because I made 18 trips back and forth to Venezuela and found out where the 3 ships went down of Capitan Churio, and one of the ships had 200,000 pesos in gold bullion on board, and I figured out approximately where it went down and put some keys to that in the book. So it's a real sought after book. Of all the books that I've written about UFOs and Venus and everything, it's the other one. It's the dissertation that sells for the most.
Okay. Because people think they can find the treasure.
Right. And then when I was writing about my friend Dolores Barrios, I got a lot of the background information from the Basque Cultural Center in Boise, Idaho, and also the Basque Center at Reno, Nevada. So there's a lot of interconnection in there, sources for a lot of this material. But it's very exciting stuff. And being an author, I've always wanted to be an author, and it's although I first became one in my 60s, better late than never.
That's true. And the revelation or the starting point was your heart?
Yes, I would say it's heart motivation.
No, I mean the surgery.
Oh, yes. It was definitely that, because I didn't know how long I would live. I had the quadruple bypass surgery, became what they call a member of the Zipper Club. That's at the VA hospital in Pittsburgh.
When was that, Ray? Which year?
that was all the way back in 2014. And
2014, excuse me, let me ask you. So right after this experience, I mean, you can shortly tell us this experience. It's it was this meeting your oversoul experience, right? That you had during this surgery, as far as I understood you, correct?
yes,
You had this out of body experience, and this was then the revelation kind of, or this knowing that when you return to your body, that you had to share the Venus, that you had to write that you want to or had to write the Venus books. Is that correct?
yes, that's right. And I just felt that that was my choice to return, given a choice by meeting my oversoul and seeing a manifestation of my life in previous incarnations and learning of my origins on the planet Venus and choosing to come to these incarnations on Earth, that by writing these Venus books, I'm doing exactly what I was born to do.
And before, I mean, you have already done all these researches and had all these encounters and everything before this incident. So why do you think that you had to have this surgery and this oversoul meeting? So that was it like the push that you needed to get the books writing going? Why wouldn't you have done it anyway?
Yes, I was comfortable in obscurity, and I was
in obscurity.
Obscurity, and I mean I'm a veteran, and so I have a military pension, and I have my income from Social Security, so I didn't need to be doing this. But since my youth of publishing the Flying Saucer Report in the 60s, and collecting all this information and meeting all these people in the UFO universe, or universe of ufology, I felt that it shouldn't go to waste. And of course, Dr. Leo Sprinkle encouraged me to do it, and he wrote the introduction to the Venus Rising, and so I'm so glad that I did. And I know that maybe I wouldn't get recognized for anything in this lifetime, and that didn't really matter that much. The important thing was to put the information out there, because I know it would help so many people. And I didn't form a group or a club or a religion or anything. I just write these Venus books, and people can read it for themselves and experience for themselves an awakening of their own consciousness and an evolvement of their own soul through these books. And I hope that it plays some small part in doing just that. So it's not a cult or anything like that. When I went to China, they arrested me, and they said it was like spreading a religious cult, but it's not. And I explained to them that no, you could read these books for yourself. It's not. There's nothing cultish about it. If you believe it, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But I think you'll still get something out of it, regardless, because everything is fully documented and footnoted, and you can check all the sources for yourself and see that that this is very deep and profound, and it goes back countless millennia about the Venusian presence here on Earth. So it's a blessing to all of humankind. And so,
It is.
so they arrested Rob Potter and myself when we went to go talk to a metaphysical group there. And then they let us go after they read the book. And so I knew we had angels protecting us.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing all that. And I can only say it's not only the footnotes, it's not only the well-documented work, it's also the energy. And I already received this information from a good friend of mine who has special abilities and who can kind of energetically do researches on anything, on people, on objects, on books. He doesn't even have to have the book in his hand. So what he did, because I was speaking with him much about your book and about my work of translating it and about planning your tour and so on. So then he said, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to check that book out, you know, and then he just, I think I showed it to him by on the computer. He doesn't even has it. He did not even have it in his hands, as I say, and he cannot read or speak any English. So it is more just this scanning the energy of the book. And he was doing that. I think he's usually doing that kind of work during the night when he's leaving his body, and he came back, and I'm really planning on doing a little video with him about what he felt, because it is really so, he has a similar talent like you have and Omnek has, like putting big things in a couple of words, you know. Of course, you can also use many words, as we know from these books, but you can also put it in very short terms. And in this shortness sometimes lies a big truth and a big depth of truth. And this is really fascinating. You know, my friend, then he came back and he told me, do you think that Raymond really knows what he was writing there? What kind of energy is in there? And I said, yes, I think he knows, you know, that this is really completely the essence of Venus, the essence of also of this female, so it's not female, it's the perfect balance of male and female. It's this softness, this kindness, the loving and truth and intelligence. It's really kind of a revelation for those who are reading it and who have this open heart, even if it's just sleeping or if it's still not so open or so. By reading it, you receive the energy. It's like, you know, flowing or shining, or like a rays, like cosmic rays out of the books in between the words. And then
wow,
you receive energy, and it can really open your mind and help you realize who you really are. So it's a big revelation. Let's be positive and do our best. That's all that we can do, right?
Oh yes, that's right. Then we'll have Germany and the United States rocking in the free world.
That's right, rocking in the free world. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Well, okay. Stay there for a moment. Thank you, Ray.
Okay, thank you.